Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Warenberg. Thanks so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are new here. Today we have the first new moon of 2022, and it also is a new moon in Capricorn. So for today's Tarot Pick a Card reading, I'm going to be reading the cards around new energy, creating a new story for yourself, new, all of this, and it's very nicely coincides with, the first new moon of the year. So if you're feeling like the fresh energy of a new year, of course, we can start our lives over whenever we want, even in the same day, right? We can choose to have a new thought whenever, but it's just extra, it's nice to just have a little extra emphasis energy here with this new moon in Capricorn on the first new moon of 2022 on the second day of the year. So thank you so much for joining me. I have 4 groups for you today. I've inserted a picture. You can go ahead and choose by the picture. You can choose by the number. You can choose by the sound of my voice, group 1, 2, 3, or 4. Take as much time as you want. All the timestamps are below. And when you're ready, I will see you at the reading that you chose. Hi everyone, welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 1. So as a reminder, I will be reading the cards around the new moon energy. So new energy you want to call in, ways you can connect to that, set intentions for yourself or energy to focus on release, just kind of reframing with this new moon, new year, new me, new year, new me energy we have going on. Okay, so you all picked card 43, which breaks to a 7, which might be significant to you, but Our Lady of Comfort. So this is just so, just look at this picture. It just makes me just feel so comforting. Okay, but so we see here we have, just a hug. We have this divine heart just being cared for, loved, all of that beautiful energy. So I think group 1, some part of you has connected to needing a little hug. So I'm sending you a spiritual hug. But this also can be, reaching out. You are in need of some comfort in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes if we're working through something that maybe, isn't as bad as other things we worked through before, or we've been working through it for a long time, or, whatever's going on, we can kind of get the story of ourselves of like, well, I don't need comfort anymore. I should be over this, or I should, whatever story is going on there for you. So this card is just a reminder that you never outgrow the human experience. You'll never outgrow needing help, needing support, needing care. And so if you are in that place where you might be judging yourself or thinking, like, well, I don't need to reach out to anyone, I don't need to whatever, this is really saying like, it's okay. And then so besides giving yourself permission to need comfort, I'm writing a new story around that. Like, I give myself permission to have comfort, to be comforted by people who love me. This can also be, knowing that while physical reality connections are important, of course, nothing can replace the comfort and nourishment and fulfillment that we get from connecting to our higher power, from connecting to God, from connecting to these divine angelic energies, just knowing that there is something out there greater than us that loves us and cares about us. So this is also energy of, you can pray for love and care around, please God, let me feel that you care about me. You pray to Mother Mary if that's someone who feels resonant for you, but just knowing that, we are comforted and guided, and it is up to us to just like open our heart to allow that connection between us and God to be flowing, instead of just feeling like, I'm on this on my own, I have to do everything on my own, all of that. So this is really, again, if you need to give yourself some permission to feel comfort, please do. This is your very clear sign, I'm telling you. So with this new moon, maybe it could be about releasing some of the need to do everything on your own or not ask for care or support, with all of that. Okay, so for Lucky Jewel, I'm going to do your tarot, and then we will do your oracle cards. Okay, opening your reading, we have the Tower, our dear friend the Tower, Fool in reverse, the Moon, Temperance. Okay, group 1, Justice, the Magician, and 3 of Pentacles. Okay, so I've been reading tarot for 15 years. You guys have 6 out of 7 major arcana cards. Okay, so you have the Tower, the Fool in reverse, the Moon, Temperance, Justice, the Magician. So I feel this comfort, you really need to give yourself permission to give that to yourself. This is really intense energy. This is a lot of energy. This is like, maybe you've just been feeling very overwhelmed, very like, you don't know where to turn, you don't know what's going on. I'll get into your card specifically, but I can just tell you that 6 major arcana cards out of 7, if you pick group 1, this message is for you. Okay, we're just going to say that. So opening your reading, we have the Tower into the Fool. So I feel like something went astray in your life. There was something that happened that you didn't predict, that some adversity has happened, that like, that's life, right? We have to live life on life's terms. And it just kind of like shattered your whole world. It brought everything down. This could be something recent. It could be something from 6 months ago. It could be something from years ago. I mean, there's no judgment here, right? There's no timeline for healing. It's just, we have to deal with it as it comes up. But there was something that was just like total shutdown, total, like, I can't do this. What's happening to me? Everything's horrible, whatever, all this stuff. And then it kind of forced you into, this retreat space. I'm getting the image of like, when an animal's hurt and they kind of like back up and like want to hide themselves, while they recover. So the Fool upright is about like feeling confident, taking chances, taking risks. But with this energy right next to the Tower in reverse, it's very much about like, this thing happened, shattered your world. It could be betrayal, wounding, it could be trust issues with other people, with how can I trust God now after this thing happened to me, right? And contrary to popular belief, God does not make horrible things happen to us. God is there to help us get through horrible times. Okay, so this is just, I think, that comfort energy that we saw with your opening card is just really about like, maybe you haven't given yourself permission to feel comfort, to feel love, to feel care, since this thing happened. Maybe you've been, pushing the door back open a little bit, but not all the way. So this is really energy about giving yourself permission to, feel like, even though this adversity happened, this thing happened, it feels so overwhelming, you don't have to go into this cave of like, I can't trust anyone ever again, I can't do this, I can't, whatever. So just maybe even telling a new story about that. And just remember, like, challenging times are not there to punish us. They're just for a time for us to strengthen our reliance on God. They're a time for us to be kind and loving to ourselves. It's time for us to prioritize ourselves and be loving and compassionate to ourselves. So if you've been working through some of that and maybe have some judgment that it's, taking a certain amount of time, or you're still dealing with this certain thing or whatever, this I feel like with that comfort card that came out in the beginning, it's really just reminding us that, we don't, it's not our timeline, that happens. It's just these things happen and we just have to keep going, right? We're life on life's terms. Because then after that we have the Moon. So the Moon is about our subconscious energy. So this is really about like turning inward. I feel like, with this situation, and the Moon right after that has just been a lot of like, you were forced to turn inward, you were forced to evaluate some of your beliefs about life, about yourself, about, the way you were living, right? Sometimes God makes things happen to us because if we're not uncomfortable, we won't change and we won't grow. And again, the point, contrary to popular belief, the point on earth is not to accumulate more material objects and rise to societal standards, right? The point is to evolve on the soul level. And so, sometimes when adversity happens or these things happen, not condoning it, not saying, if you're pissed off or it was horrible, that great, it was worth it, right? Not saying that at all. But this really is just energy of like, sometimes things that make us turn inward and grow and evolve on the soul level are things that we wouldn't have chosen for ourselves. And again, not saying that I condone them or, just, oh, okay, now that I get that, it's fine, right? No problem, right? We always have to go through our healing process. But this really is just about knowing that there are things going in the subconscious, there are things that are being rewritten, that are being changed within yourself because of the situation. And there are things happening that can allow you to, grow and expand and evolve on the soul level, right? So a lot of times, the things that push us into learning about ourselves or getting more clear, or I didn't know I had this boundary before, but now I know I have it because of this particular situation, or these are my preferences now because of the situation I went through. That's a lot of this subconscious energy we see with the Moon, of like things happening below the surface. And also that's on the personal level. And then also on the larger level, this energy is really about things happening that we can't see. So a lot of times of things fall apart so they can fall back together better or come back together better. We don't say fall again, right? Okay, but so this could be about that something happens and we want this next thing, we want to grow, we want to change, but sometimes when we have things happen that where we have to like do a huge upheaval in our lives, we're like, well, this isn't what I wanted, but it's actually the right thing to be happening for us to be able to get to that next place and get to that next layer and this next thing that we say we want. So even if you can't see anything in physical reality, this is just confirmation that things are happening behind the scenes, things are happening, being orchestrated for you, and it's just coming together in its own timing, even if you can't physically see what's going on. So the theme of your reading, center of your reading, we have temperance. So I feel like group one for you all, this is real. This is also a very nourishing card, a very comforting card. So just really this energy of Our Lady of Comfort and temperance energy here, just really feeling like, you can tap into this energy of like, a new dawn, of finding balance within yourself, nourishing yourself, being kind to yourself, right? So whatever you're going through, whatever's going on with this new moon, you can really kind of like give yourself some of this energy of just, again, just comfort, nourishment, like reconnecting to yourself, allowing yourself to be fulfilled, like just imagining like the nourishment that can come from when we're plugged into our higher power, of just like that, just this water image of washing clean, of finding peace with how things are and allowing things to change for the better. And so this temperance is about, finding your footing again, creating balance in your life, allowing things to change for the better, just for kind of finding your footing again. So, and remembering that, like, especially if something got messed up or changed for you in physical reality, this is about really finding that peace and comfort inside of you emotionally, and finding, some of that awareness within yourself in ways that feel like it's intangible. Some of like the soul home we can create within ourselves. That's like the energy we want to focus on, of allowing that to nourish and flow through you, and for you to feel replenished, like internally, making sure your soul home is good, making sure your soul home is like a garden and nourished and taken care of. So what do you need with this new moon? You can think, okay, well, I would like this and this thing, or I would like this and this. So what do you need to really feel like you are nourishing that part of yourself? Because to close your reading, we have Justice, the Magician, and Three of Pentacles. So I feel like this is really kind of like the how-to of things you can be doing this with this temperance energy. So we have Justice. So this can be about, we can't, go off and get some of the physical reality justice we want all the time, usually. So this card is more about like, what would you need to feel like things are fair and taken care of, right? Sometimes if something happens to us that we don't have control over, we can get so focused on something that like, I can't change that thing, but all my energy's on it anyway. So this could be about, well, okay, I know, even if it's just this thing happened to me, I know what I'm in control of is the way I think about it, or I have this new boundary, or I've decided to do this particular thing, or, what did you learn about yourself? Once you can get meaning from a particular situation, then it kind of like loosens its grasp on it. And again, finding meaning from something doesn't mean you condone it, doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean, whatever, any of that. It just means that you are finding meaning and moving forward and putting your energy back on you, which is what you can focus and control in your life. Because we have the Magician here, which is just this beautiful energy of like, you can create what you want. You can have, you can write the story how you want it to be. You can have the situation be reflected in your mind how you want it to be. You don't have to be at the mercy of, oh, this thing happened to me, so I know I have to think about it in XYZ way, right? You do have the option to tell the story you want about it, to use it, to let it mean nothing, to learn something from it, to whatever is going on. It's like you have the power. We are in control of more than we think. But just when we're wounded or when we're going through a hard time, we're so focused on the stuff that we can't control, which is fine. Just be kind to yourself. It's just part of it. And then this Three of Pentacles, I know in the beginning I was talking about Our Lady of Comfort in terms of like spiritual support, but this is about, being with a team, being with a group, being with, the people who get you, the people who are on your side. So this is energy around, finding comfort and support with people who love you and care about you and have your best interest. Let people love you while you are, building this temperance of finding that love and care within yourself. And that doesn't mean you stop caring for yourself, you stop doing what you have to do to take care of yourself. It just means that you rely on, people who, again, we're not totally independent species. You rely on people who are interdependent, who are flowing with you, instead of just, I can do everything on my own. And then once I emerge from this, then I'll let people love me. But it takes strength and vulnerability to be comforted while we don't feel our best. Okay, I'm going to go through your oracle cards now. Okay, so we'll start with this one. So really amazing, because so we had a Mother Mary card, and then we have Mary Magdalene also coming through from the oracle card. So unconditional love. So love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearances may be. So I feel like, again, this is just really big emphasis of letting, just calling in that maternal, nourishing energy for yourself, right? That really comforting, really, really like beautiful, kind, soft, tender, gentle energy for yourself is what we're getting with this card. And then love yourself, again, what I was talking about, like sometimes it's hard for us to find balance within our lives because we're so focused on, well, it should be this way, or once I get like this, I'll love myself, or once, I work through this thing, then I'll be worthy of my love for myself. But this is just saying, right now, choosing that and choosing to just offer yourself that love and care, and even, no matter what external experiences can be. So just, again, another confirmation that there are things coming together in physical reality, even if it's not happening right now or on the timeline you want or the way you want, or all of that, because we have full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. So you might be a Virgo or have Virgo in your chart. If you don't worry about it. It's just a general reading, but just, a little reminder that you are good enough. Sometimes when we think adverse things happen, it's like, well, why would this happen to me? Why? And why is not a spiritual question. And also, if bad things didn't happen if bad things were based on moral, whatever ethical value that we have as people, then the whole world would be completely and totally different than it is right now, right? Physical reality. So this is really saying that you are good enough. You do have things to offer. You are worthy of comfort. You are worthy of love and care. So just a really pretty straightforward, nice message for yourself. So if you can even use affirmation today: I am good enough. I am enough. I am worthy. All of that. And then we have, going along with that, we have I do the best I can. So this image really reminds me of the High Priestess and the Rider-Waite Tarot. But this is about, you did the best you can with what you have, right? You can't push yourself to heal or to make the situation different or to whatever. You can't make yourself move through it faster than you can move through it. So just, again, lightening up on yourself, just more gentle energy, more like, I do the best I can. I am doing the best I can. I trust the process. I trust the timing of my life. I trust the pace my body can move at, all of that energy with this one. And, not using it as judgment, but just knowing that the best that we can do is what we can do, and that's it, right? And so then we have, I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. So don't forget that someone could be you, right? It could be the situation. It could be, the way you've seen yourself because of the situation. Maybe, you went through a hard time and maybe you acted not as gracefully as you would have liked to, which, no judgment, I've been there, right? But so this could be like, how can I see myself in a loving, caring, compassionate way, instead of like judging myself or judging the situation. Or maybe there was someone with this Justice card that you feel like, owes you something. And so this doesn't mean that you condone their actions or you think it's okay or any of that. It just means that, you, can we see it? Can we see it? There. It just means that you want to let go of the energy of it, right? Again, doesn't mean you condone it. Doesn't mean you want to allow it in your life again. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means that, you are willing and ready and able to release it so that you can have this new thing come into your life. You can have this new energy in your life. You can have, this space. You can just let it go, and like knowing that everything that goes out comes back around in one way or another. So there isn't a need for you to hold on to this resentment, because eventually, you can do something with anger. You can use it for righteousness. You can get clear about, this is my boundary. I don't want it to be crossed again. But when you get to the point where you're bitter, that's where it's not helpful anymore. And that's where you're harming yourself. So this card is really about, letting go of the shadow of the past and seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. So just, say, like, you can even pray, like, I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to let this person go. Please, God, give me the willingness to do that if you can't. Because we have the card paradox. So I feel like there's probably some lessons in here. You know what your lessons are better than I do, obviously. But so I feel like there's a lesson, at least one lesson in here with what we've been talking about that, um, that's, it might seem counterintuitive, right? So it might be like this lesson of, if I see someone with kindness, then I'll feel more avenged in my whatever. Or if I have faith that something, if I let go of my desire to see something in physical reality, then it's going to come faster than if I'm just so focused on it. So a lot of spiritual truths are paradoxes and do exist in a way that challenge our limited human ego mind. So, if there's a lesson in here that maybe feels confusing or feels like, well, how could that be true? How could that be my lesson? This is just confirmation that it is. Okay, I'm telling you right now. And so again, with this new moon, maybe just asking, say, like, how can I tell a new story about this? It's like, it could be, I had to have all this stuff taken away from me so that I could feel more abundant and full, right? Which is, again, a paradoxical thing because we're taught physical reality tells us how abundant and full we are, which again, to some extent it does, but there are things we have to go through to change that and move through that. Okay, and then I just want to end the reading with, we'll do one affirmation card for you for this new moon. Acknowledging apprehension. So when it's a yes, nothing can stop me. When I'm unsure, it's always a no. So just thinking about that, and maybe, if you feel like you've been trying to force something to happen, or you've been trying to, like, again, rush that healing process, and not give yourself some comfort and nourishment. If you don't deal with it now, you're gonna have to deal with it later, right? It's gonna come up later. So might as well honor yourself and give yourself that love and care and comfort, and this temperance of refinding your footing within it. So trusting what feels good for you. That's everything I have for you. Happy new moon. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 2. So just a reminder that this is a new moon reading. So I will be reading the cards around new energy, telling a new story, any and all of that. So group 2, you guys picked Our Lady of Passion. It's a card 9. So maybe 9 is a significant number for you. But Our Lady of Passion. So this card is really just reminding us that, after this very tumultuous last few years we've had on the global scale, maybe we felt like we've been falling off of our passion, or, maybe the trajectory we were on to, like, affirm our passion in physical reality in some way, shape, or form has been interrupted, or maybe you've been making steady progress towards it, right? But so this card is really about knowing that the passion that's in your heart, the things you feel guided to, the things you feel are for you to honor in this lifetime, to the way you even be and live and exist on earth, those are in there for a reason. And God wouldn't put the desire in your heart to be that way if it wasn't for you to be that way. So this card, and this isn't just about a job, right? Of course that can happen. There are many people who connect their passion into their job, like, very clear this for that. But passion can also be, the way you exist. What traits do you embody? How do you treat other people? Do you reach out to your neighbor? Do you volunteer for charity work in your neighborhood? Do you try to make your community more loving and kind, right? Not just amassing money, which, like, is part of it. Again, we're in this capitalistic world, we have to, but how do you live the passions and values that feel true to you besides just in your physical reality, or maybe in your job? So this card can be about embodying that passion, embodying the love and care, and just a lot of this nurturing, gentle, kind energy that Mother Mary represents for so many people around the world. And just knowing that the passions that we have, it could be, sometimes it is, like I said, a very clear job of, like, this is what I want to do. But sometimes it's about being nurturing. It's about being loving. It's about being caring. It's about being understanding. It's about embodying that and extending that to people in everyday life, right? And, there is a way to be firm with your boundaries and still be loving and compassionate. And there's an ego way to do it too. And so I think this card is reminding you, if you need a little reminder or re-up, that the passions you can feel in your heart of the things you want to do or how you want to exist more simply, they are there for a reason, and you can trust that, and you can trust that you do have divine support to follow that. So maybe if you've been thinking about, putting more energy into a passion of yours, or just starting something for fun that feels like, a very beautiful, passionate outlet for you, or how could this go with this? Or if I like this thing, why do I like this thing too? This is really saying that, you can have it all, and all of that is the magic, beautiful makeup of you. And we're not we're not brands. We're not this one compartmentalized thing. You are a full, infinite human being that you just scratched the surface of who you are and what you can offer and what you can do in this world. So this is saying, if you have some doubts or fears about making things happen, or following your heart, or following these things that just feel passionate and good for you, don't. Okay, that's the end of the reading. No, just kidding. So this is just knowing that that is coming in for you in a way that, again, you are very, you're just very, very supported in that, and you can trust that, and you can trust the way that you're guided to offer that to the world. And we need you. Again, that wouldn't be in your heart if it wasn't meant for you to extend that in some way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm going to start with your tarot, and then we'll do oracle cards like usual. So look at this, the star right away. Then we have the King of Cups, and then we have Two of Wands, and then we have the Sun, and then we have the Ten of Cups, and then we have the High Priestess and the Empress. Wow, very beautiful. So 4 major arcana cards here for you. So we have the Star, the Sun, the High Priestess, and the Empress. A lot of yin feminine energy with this. Okay, so with the Empress, the High Priestess, the Star, 2 cups. I mean, just a lot of this divine feminine energy, regardless of your gender. This divine feminine energy of just allowing, embodying, existing as a certain way. Embodiment speaks louder than words. And so this is one big message I'm getting from this right away. But just to start with this, I feel like, group 2, you are someone who's very highly emotionally intelligent. We have that both here with the Star and the King of Cups. So the Star is about allowing that intuition to flow, just connecting to that part of ourselves that does have intuition flowing, that does allow these things to, kind of channel this connection of, stars in the other realm, and then connecting all the way down to water on earth, just the way these things can connect and flow and be there for each other and all of that. And then King of Cups is just about someone who has mastered emotional intelligence. This is someone who, you can see even there's some treacherous waters around this king, but he's just chilling, right? He's just hanging out. So this is about, and again, king is regardless of your gender, just king energy. This is about, kind of like this mastery of listening to your intuition, listening to that, and then knowing that, okay, my intuition is a guide and it's here to help me. But, facts and feelings are separate. So just because you have a feeling, you can use that as information, but it doesn't have to form your actions exactly. It can, definitely, right? But highly emotionally intelligent people know that I can have this feeling and I can allow it and I can hear it, but it doesn't mean that I have to immediately act on that, or immediately do that, or immediately do that, this particular way in my life. So this is saying finding this balance and mastering that balance between listening to my intuition and still being, okay, well, what is that beautiful blend of logic and intuition, right? I have this feeling, but maybe what's the best way I can honor it? Is it just something I need to process, or do I need to act on it? Or do I need to do that? Or do I need to do this? So just a lot of, I feel like, again, with this passion that came out for the first card of your reading, I feel like this energy is really about maybe talking yourself out of your passion. Maybe you're stuck in this thing of, well, it feels like it has to be this specific way, so it has to, instead of just being I can trust that I feel what this is for, and going there. Because with this Two of Wands, it just feels like you're forcing yourself to make a choice that you don't have to make, or okay, well, it has to be this or this, or it can't be that or that, or da, 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 da. But this is about, making a choice and finding the gray area. I think this can be about, for you, it's not logic or emotion, it's blending them together. And again, passion is there, but it's not, if it was just emotions, we wouldn't be on this intense physical reality plane that is really dense and does have some of these limits of physical reality. So if you're forcing yourself to choose between your logic or your emotions, this is really saying, You don't have to. You can have it all, because look, we have the sun. So I feel like a lot of rebirth energy. I think this is really good timing for a new moon in the new year for you. So I feel like with this group, just kind of telling a new story and like starting fresh, feeling like a baby, feeling brand new, feeling really like this is my passion and I can let it be how I want it to be. And this is the way I can let it flow into my life in a way that is affirming and loving. And I can let it be, this, I can tell a new story about it. So part of telling a new story, if you don't know what the new story is just identifying the old story. So that could be that, I wasn't allowed to have this be my passion, or there's no money in it, or there's too many of these particular things that I want to do, so why would I be the different unique one, right? And kind of really focusing on the rebirth of that, and really just realizing, okay, I can tell a new story about it, I can choose something new for myself, I can allow this new energy about it into my life even if I haven't before. So this can really be about, um like I said, just being, giving yourself permission to be reborn around this thought, just around the story, around this type of thing. Because look, look at this end of your reading. We have 10 of Cups, High Priestess, Empress. I mean, I just love it. I just want you to look at those because they're so beautiful. But so 10 of Cups is, again, this Cups energy with the King of Cups, this is emotional fulfillment. So I feel like once you tell this new story, once you realize, okay, I can, again, we have to be practical a little bit, right? We can't just totally forego physical reality. But there is emotional fulfillment here. There is, like whatever that looks like for you. It could look like a family. It could look like, just feeling secure, feeling fulfilled in your heart because you're living out the things that are passionate for you. There's definitely emotional fulfillment in this for you around, yeah, just taking care of yourself, honoring yourself, knowing what you want, honoring that, and just making it happen. And then just knowing that you can rely on this High Priestess Empress energy to guide you. Okay, so this is really saying, I feel like group 2, the message for you is some blocks around like not being as logical about something and just kind of being more intuitive and more feely about it. So if you've been really like, it has to be like this, or I have to do this, or I have to, this is, again, I'm not, don't give your power away to a tarot reader on YouTube, right? And just say, oh, I saw this thing and it told me to just go AWOL in my life and give up on everything, right? No, that's not what I'm saying. But this is saying, if you can increase your intuition, your connection to yourself, you're doing things from a more feely way, how it feels inside, it's definitely supported here. And it's definitely, you can have the love and care and passion and things you want in your life, by doing, this, by following your intuition, by following things that feel good, by following like, okay, well, I don't know why it's important for me to, learn this one skill or take this one class or do this particular thing, but that's what I feel drawn to, and trusting that, just doing one step at a time is going to add up, and all that is going to overflow into this abundance into your life in certain ways. So this is, again, about, just allowing your intuition to kind of guide the show. And again, we do have to be practical and logical in certain ways, but if we're so logical, then we don't honor any of that intuitive hits we get. And part of our intuition is like, that's a gift from God. That's a gift for us to hear guidance, to, do God's will, to just be, out of the bondage of self and just be more of someone who is here to offer the gifts that God will flow through us once we choose to do that. For your tarot cards. Okay, so these two go together, but I'll start with this. I advance through my own abilities. So I feel like, again, if you have felt this disconnect of like what I was talking about with this 2 of Wands, of like, I can't merge this and this, or I can't be this and this thing at the same time, I just have to be this one thing, or it can't be, whatever. This is really about, you advance through your own abilities. So all the gifts you have are given to you on purpose, and all these things that you're interested in all work together. And so this is, again, I advance through my own abilities is about just trusting yourself and trusting these ways that the gifts you have to offer and this passion that you do feel in your life, is real, and it can lead you to abundance and care and fulfillment. And you can advance, not just in physical reality, that's definitely possible for you, but I feel like this is more about soul advancement. You can advance on the soul level, you can feel loved and cared for and abundant in all of those ways. If you are doing, all the things that you feel drawn to, because then we have the versatility card with a weed leaf on it. So smoke a lot of weed. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do drugs. But this is about, if you feel like what I was talking about, of like you have to be compartmentalized into one particular thing, or you have to be compartmentalized into, this is my thing. But if you're someone who has a lot of skill sets that, don't go together, hello, that's me, right? According to physical reality or to societal standards or whatever, whatever BS we're fed, this is really saying if you can do more than one thing, if you have a lot of skill sets and you can offer all these gifts and you feel like you want to, and it doesn't even have to be like, again, for monetary, it could just be, I was talking about, for passion, for embodying these things, right? Or wanting to let this outlet for the skill you have. If you do want to have all that stuff, this is just affirming that it is important for you to honor your versatility, honor all the gifts you have, and honor all the, the many, many facets of yourself that exist inside of you, and offer those to the world, because again, they're there for a reason. And then which one are we going to start? So when I lead toward love, I am led. So I think this is just what I was talking about with trusting your intuition, and trusting that, sometimes we can be afraid to trust our intuition because we either don't know how it's going to turn out, or it doesn't make sense, right? Or it it could just be something that, like, well, how is this going to help with whatever thing, right? But maybe you go to a class or a thing or whatever, and you meet someone, and then they're the exact person you were trying to meet to do this other skill set that you need, right? Or they have help in the way that you need in this particular thing. So this is just, I'm not even leaning towards love, but just leaning towards your intuition, leaning towards God's care. Again, praying that prayer of like, please God, show me your will for me. Please show me what you want me to do today to make it through. But this is, again, just showing and reminding you that when you lean towards that and lean into that, instead of trying to like over logic it, like, again, this reading is so much about trusting your intuition and trusting about the path you're being led on. This is going to continue to lead you to all the fulfillment that you could want in this life. And again, those intangible gifts are so fulfilling and just feel so nourishing and loving, and fulfilling for you in a way that, like, physical reality success is great, and we do need to have it, of course, to be alive, right? But the spiritual nourishment and the spiritual fulfillment we get from following our passion, from being who we want to be and who we feel like we are in our souls, that's like worth so much, and something that we can only connect to fully when we are living from our intuition and from our place of like, this feels good for me, this doesn't feel good for me. And then we have Nematona, sacred space. So create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. So this could just be if you don't have, something we do as humans, which is so fun. I mean, it's not funny, it's colloquially funny. Like, I'm interested in this particular thing, but I don't have any area in my house dedicated for this specific thing, right? So if you're interested in meditating every morning, or doing yoga, or painting, or drawing, or writing, or playing the piano, or gardening, or whatever, but we don't set up a sacred space to do that, no wonder it's so hard for us to make that part of our life, right? So again, I know we do have some limits with, maybe your house isn't exactly how you want it to be, but just open yourself up and just say, what's a creative possibility for me to allow a little bit of this thing into my space, into my home, into my life. And then this also could be something around, creating an altar of just like, making sure you are praying, making sure you're connecting to the divine, making sure you're giving, you're reflecting that you do want to have this deeper relationship with your intuition in physical reality, even if it's just lighting a candle, taking a few deep breaths, and just saying like, this is, please show me what's for me, or, connecting to allowing that channel from God to be open. But just knowing that, there is a lot that can happen when we just make an offer or do something in physical reality to connect with the divine, to connect with God, to just be like, please show me, what I need to do with that. And it's just really opens up a lot for us if we allow it. Okay, then we have new moon in Libra, a new romantic cycle begins. So even if you're a partnered person, I feel like the message with the rest of the reading, if you're not looking for love, if you're not whatever, that's not the message I'm getting. It can be if you are, but I feel like this is more about maybe, who is going to love me, or I'm not lovable anymore if this particular passion is also part of my life, right? So maybe this is a passion that you the more resistance we have to these things that we can feel inside of us, the more we know they're going to serve us. So this card, I think, is just really about, it's not a romantic relationship, but it could just be a new romantic cycle in terms of like letting yourself be loved and cared for, and seen by people, especially, a lifetime partner, of like this passion you have, and knowing that someone who is really for you and who really loves you, they will um they will love you even more when they see that you're so excited and love this thing so much. And it's like, they're like, oh my God, you're so passionate about that. I love that for you, right? Even if they don't get it, they don't know what it is, they don't know anything about it. This is just really saying, maybe you weren't allowed to have this particular passion as a child. So maybe the love from your caregivers wasn't affirmed by it. But this is really saying that, the person who is for you will still love you, obviously, and care for you romantically, if you allow yourself to just show up and be like, here's my heart, here's what I am, here's what I have to offer. So not hiding that part of you. So the new story you tell yourself can be like, I am lovable no matter what. People for me love all parts of me. I'm allowed to be who I want to be. Anything like that can be the story with this. Okay, and I just want to pick one affirmation card to close this reading for you guys in group 2. And wonderful. I mean, those are pretty good reading. It's a little pretty specific, but well, all those flew away. But a good message for you, if that was your message you needed to hear on this new moon. Okay. Healing heartbreak. So my heart will love again. So I feel like this is not just romantic love heartbreak. This could be heartbreak around like you had to give up your passion, or you didn't let yourself have this passion, or you didn't let yourself, embody this thing before. So knowing that your heart will love again, you can let go of the way you judged yourself in the past. Maybe some of the ways you had to push down or silence yourself, to let this be part of your life. So the heart will love again. Very beautiful. Okay, thank you so much. That's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 3. So as a reminder, I will be reading in new moon energy. So we will be looking at the cards in a place of calling new things in, reframing new stories, all of that. So you all picked Our Lady of Answered Prayers. This is a 7, so 7 might be significant for you. I mean, I just look at this card and just feel so much peace and contentment and just faith, and now you don't have to worry anymore, right? So sometimes first message I'm getting about this card is sometimes, I think, oh, did I ask for it clearly enough? Am I praying the right way? Did I say it in the correct way? Is it the right wording? Am I clear enough? Whatever, all that. This is really saying, just a reminder that, no matter what words we use or what language we're speaking in, or, if we're asking from a place of like desperation or panic or abundance or whatever, God hears every single part of that. And it's just, as long as you're speaking and trying to connect with your higher power, with the divine, with God, in a loving way and like in a pure way, and like really, this is me speaking from my heart. As long as you're doing that, then you have to have faith that your prayers are being answered. God hears everything you say, everything you feel. God sees everything. So you don't have to, present it in this certain way, or be like, okay, I have to make sure I say this particular thing, right? If you want structure in your prayers, like that's great too, but don't feel like God's punishing you or not answering your prayers because you aren't doing it the right way or anything like this. So that's the first message I'm getting for this group. The other thing is, sometimes there's a saying, right? Like God answers your prayers by saying yes, but not now, or by saying I have something better for you. So this could be just a reminder that if the prayer you want isn't materializing or isn't showing up for you, just having faith that it will come in the exact right way, the exact right time, on God's timing, not our timing, and you don't have to force it or try so hard to make it be a particular way. Just having faith in that. And then the other thing is knowing that, sometimes we don't even see the prayer is answered because we're so focused on like, it has to be this particular way, this particular thing, this particular timing, this particular whatever. that actually our answered prayer could be here right now, or it could be this other thing, or coming in this other way, but we're so focused on like, I'm so attached to it has to be this particular way, that we can kind of block, a way that God is trying to answer our prayer for us, just in a different way. So I think, an affirmation you can give with that is, I'm open to creative possibilities. Please show me how what is in front of me is an answered prayer. Please grant me patience and acceptance, right? Any and all of that can come through of when we're thinking about like our answered prayers, and just knowing that, like, God isn't punishing you if your prayer isn't being answered right now. It's just like, there's so whenever we have to wait for something, it's so we can be a better match for it. It's so the right and perfect thing is being, made up perfectly exactly for us. So any and all of those things around prayers. So I think with this new moon, if you need to tell a new story to yourself about your prayers, if you need to um just kind of feel like, okay, well, what are the ways that maybe I'm blocking myself from seeing what's going on here, or am I saying, God's punishing me, or God doesn't love me, or God forgot about me because my prayer isn't here yet, right? So any of the ways you might need to rewrite, um feeling like your prayers aren't answered yet, is kind of the vibes for for group 3 of this big one. Okay, I'm going to start with your tarot like usual, and then I'll get to your oracle cards. So we have Ace of Wands, and then Six of Wands, and the World, and then we have Eight of Swords, Eight of Cups, 2 eights in a row, the Devil, and Seven of Wands. Okay, so I feel like group 3 for you guys, you have had a lot of success in life. You have had a lot of things that you've worked for, that you've made happen, that have kind of come together for you. Just this cycle of, you have an idea, you have a thought, you have a passion, you have a way, like, I want this to happen. I want to make this thing work for me. I want all of that. And then look, boom, there it is. You did it. You're being celebrated. There's this parade for you. You did it, all this stuff. And so just kind of this cycle of, I want to do this. I'm going to do it. I did it, and I'm successful at it, or, this is the thing I want to master or learn about, and I do it, the end. So just kind of like this is a pattern that feels normal for you. And so I feel like what came through with this Our Lady of Answered Prayers, maybe this particular thing that just trust whatever comes up for you while I'm talking, but this particular thing maybe isn't showing up yet. It's not here yet. It feels like it's never going to happen. So maybe you are like feeling frustrated with the answered prayers, like your prayers or unanswered prayers, because you're like, well, where is it? I've been able to do this cycle so much of like, here's a thought, here's a new thing, I'm ready to go. And look, I did it. Here it is. Here's what's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And so, just kind of this cycle of like straightforward of just like, I did this, I put in the work, I was disciplined, I made it happen, right? I was successful in this particular way. I got this particular thing. Look, I did it at the end, right? But we have the World right after those 2 cards, and that is about cycles ending. So maybe you did this in ways of that were like societally acceptable, or kind of like a path that was given to you, or like, maybe like you followed the things that were like, this is the direct way to do this, this, and this, which there's no judgment in that. We all do that, right? But maybe now you're kind of breaking into this thing of like, I want something different. I want to be different. I want new things in my life. And when you do that, maybe you're breaking away from that cycle, and you're kind of like, okay, this thing I want to have happen maybe is a little out of the box, or it's a little unconventional, or it's a little, something that my family or friends wouldn't expect from me, or maybe I need to be this new person, or whatever's going on. And this is about, again, like the closing of that cycle and starting something new. It could be, you want to do something completely different than what you've done before. You want to have something, a new situation, a new career, a new whatever. You just want to change something completely. And so this cycle of like straightforward, this is my thought, this is how I do it, I know how to do these things, is different. And kind of like, you can't rely on the exact same skill sets of ways you've done things in the past. Doesn't mean you can't make it happen or make it work, but this is about just letting that cycle end and giving yourself permission to be unsure, to be in this unanswered prayer part a little bit, just be in the unknown. Maybe a little bit out of your comfort zone in a way you haven't done. And this is just right into the Eight of Swords. This is the theme of your reading, the center of your reading. So I feel like this really goes right along with that same energy of the answered prayers, right? This is like learned helplessness, Eight of Swords. This is, you see this person, they're kind of bound up, but there's no one is holding the swords to them anymore, right? They're just kind of in the ground. The bandages are kind of loose, like she could just kind of like get out. And so this is more about energy of like, well, this thing didn't happen right away or in the way I want or in this particular thing or in any of that. And so it's not happening, right? So this Eight of Swords could just be energy around, learned helplessness. And that's not like a judgment. I've been there, right? But sometimes if we feel like, well, I've tried and I did this and I did that, but it's just not happening. This is about, don't make these stories in your mind real. This is like, I think with this new moon, it's really about telling a new story, and it's really about looking at the situation in a new way and understanding that like this unanswered prayer right now is not the end all be all of everything, right? It's just sometimes if it doesn't go the exact way we want, or what I was talking about in the exact same, like it has to be this way, then we can get frustrated and be like, it's not going to happen, or it didn't happen yet, so it's not going to happen, right? Some things just take time to happen and to come forward. And this could be one of those things. And then what I see after that is, a lot of things to rewrite here. Not a lot, but the vibes here of rewriting stuff is kind of coming through here. So I think like, what are you afraid to lose? Where are you kind of putting your energy not on yourself? And what are you fighting in your mind about this story about it? So whatever the unanswered prayer is that came up when I was talking, trust, focus on that. And, sometimes where it's hard for us to allow change in our life because we have to let something go, even if it's just a former self that we were, or particular relationships, or these certain habits, or a certain job, or whatever. So I feel like part of this learned helplessness, how you can unwrite it and how you can tell yourself a new story and have faith that your prayers are being answered, is like, what are you afraid to move on from? Again, it could just be like the you that you were last year that you can't be anymore, right? If you want something different, you have to be different. And so it could just be like, well, I can't go out and party every night anymore, even if that's something I like to do if I want, this certain lifestyle now, or, I can't spend my time in these places if I want this particular thing. So just thinking about, what are you afraid to let go of? What are you sad about leaving behind? And, just because something is sad doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. It just means that like that was something that was part of our life and we have great memories with it and we love it, but it's time to, time to move on from it. So, with this new moon telling a new story, you can just offer this new energy of like, thank you to this particular thing. You served a great purpose in my life. It was so amazing. I love you, wish you the best, but I have to let go of this person, habit, story, whatever, any and all of that stuff. And then the devil here, our dear friend the devil, this is about like addiction energy. So it could just be, sometimes if we're, instead of putting energy on ourselves, we can like put it outwards onto something, right? If something's not happening, instead of like offering ourselves some nourishment, some care, some reminders, we can be like, all right, well, it's not happening, so I'm just gonna play a bunch of video games or smoke a bunch of weed or do this other thing. Like, what your go-to comfort things are that kind of like distract you from taking care of yourself. And no judgment, I'm an addict, I speak openly about it all the time, right? Something I have to keep in check with myself. And you might not identify as an addict, but just sometimes when we go through hard times, it can be easy to latch onto those things. And so this is really saying, what am I bound up into that is actually not serving me, but it's like giving me that confirmation hit while I'm waiting for this prayer to be answered. So looking at that. And then the last thing is the Seven of Wands. So sometimes when things aren't happening or we feel like they're not going to happen, it's because we're projecting this fear of like, well, if that thing comes, then there's going to be more conflict in my life, right? So, and it could be, and it doesn't make logical sense, but it is ourselves trying to protect ourselves. And again, no judgment. This happens to me all the time, happens to everyone. But this could be, like, okay, well, if I, have this new thing in my life or this new change in my life, then people will see me in a different way and then they won't love me anymore. Or it could be, well, if I have this new career or this new thing, I'm going to meet people I don't know and I won't have my same support system with me. So I'm worried about fighting about this. And I love the Seven of Wands. I love this card because it's just about, it's so clearly in the mind. It's so clearly this fears in our minds of, false evidence appearing real, because there's no one, it's the same energy of this card. There's no one in these cards. It's just us making these fears reals and like trapping ourselves in our minds. So this is, I think, again, another thing you can rewrite with this. It's like, what do I believe I'll be up against? What conflict do I believe is going to come in my life? What things are going to be hard and challenging, that this change isn't even going to be worth it? Or this thing I'm waiting for isn't going to be worth it, right? So just a nice affirmation, make the list and then say, okay, thank you, but that's not real. I can handle this. I trust myself. I trust what I'm being guided towards. And just having faith that you can move through this and you can get there. So I think, again, you're not responsible if something isn't happening in this exact moment, but we can always do energetic maintenance and calling our energy back to ourselves and cleaning it up while we are waiting for that particular thing to happen. So this isn't about blaming you. It's just about, again, how can we do more nourishing and calming and comforting things for ourselves instead of, just feeling like, I have no power, and like, again, this learned helplessness that doesn't have to be real anymore. Okay, I'm gonna look at your tarot now. Okay, so this is what a lot of communication for you guys coming through here. So we have quiet time, take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. So I feel like, again, with these answered prayers, if you aren't praying specifically, it could just be like, the particular thing you want. It could just be like, please grant me patience. Please help me find peace in the waiting. Please let me know that waiting isn't punishment. So any of that, but this can also just be to soothe yourself, to what I was just talking about with these three things. Take the time and, you can look up guided meditations on YouTube. There's so many of just like, guided meditation for trust, meditation for peace, meditation for having faith, any and all of that, but making sure that you're making that part of like your care for yourself right now as you are in this transitory time and waiting for this prayer to be answered, right? So just not, again, with this devil energy, looking to fill up something outside of you, but instead tapping into that energy of yourself and just allowing, that heart space to open. And again, the answered prayer thing of like connecting with your higher power, knowing God hears you, no matter, how many times you've prayed it, what's going on with that. It could just be, sometimes we have to wait for things to happen to us, because then it's the only way we get closer to God. It's like, it's important for us to be grateful and connect to God when we do have abundance and have all the things we want. But how many times, when we go through a hard time, do we actually reach out to God more often than not, than when maybe things are kind of going the way that we would want them to be going. And then both of these cards, so we have communication and key, new moon in Gemini. So maybe you're a Gemini. If not, don't worry about it. You're Gemini in your chart. And then we also have I converse with awareness. So both of these cards, I think, again, what I was talking about in the beginning of just like, you don't have to have the right and perfect words to communicate with God. You don't have to expect like, okay, well, I didn't ask for it clearly enough, or I didn't speak clearly enough, or I didn't say the perfect words, I didn't whatever. That's not what this card is saying. I think this card is just saying, again, like kind of clearing your energy out and cleansing some of these like subconscious stories that might be running through your mind right now. And instead just being like, okay, God, please help me to have faith in your timing. Please help me to show that this will work out for the highest good. And just, again, being more mindful of like moving away from some of this learned helplessness, and again, moving more into like, these are the ways that I want to allow this stuff to come into my life. And so it could be, grant me patience, grant me acceptance, grant me serenity, grant me, the ability to have faith in what you're doing in my life. So just double message here for you guys in group 3 of just like really owning that. And then this one kind of goes with that, with take risk. So I feel like, again, a lot of the messages on this is like more mind stuff and rewriting stories. So I don't think it's about taking risk in action, but maybe taking risk in stories you're telling yourself, right? Sometimes it's hard for us to rewrite a story because a limiting belief has kept us safe or what we think safe for a really, really long time. So I think with this take risk, it could just be about honoring, wow, this is really scary for me to write a new story about this, but guess what? It's time for me to do it. Or it could just be like asking unabashedly for what you want, right? And not just feeling like, oh, well, I asked like for half what I want and whatever. So I think just being bold and being brave with the things that are going on in your heart and what you can hear is the guidance for you. Again, even if it just feels like like really overwhelming. And this is the image is really nice. It's mountain goat climbing the mountain. So you climb the mountain one step at a time, right? So it's saying like how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So I think this is, again, just really kind of focusing on that one day at a time, have the risk to have faith. Again, sounds paradoxical, but for a lot of us, it's harder for us to have faith than to try to control something in physical reality to affirm that something's happening for us, right? So you will get through this mountain. Your prayers are being heard. They are being answered, even if you don't hear it right now. And then I'm a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. So I think, again, this is what I was talking about before a little bit, that there's so many things in life, right? How many times when we're praying for something and it's not happening yet is when we up our spiritual ante, right? That's when we pray more. It's when we meditate more. It's when we go for walks more. It's when we, try to do some of these more nourishing soul things, that once we have some of these things in physical reality, we can get distracted and kind of like fall off the wagon with that stuff. So these cards are both really about, in this one in particular, I'm a spirit having a human experience and I'm here to get closer to love. It's like, again, more of this paradox energy of, I'm here to claim this thing for me. I'm here to move in a way that feels good for me. I'm here to like remember my higher power and remember these spiritual things, and so just trusting that there, sometimes when we go through hard times, if we learn to be more compassionate and loving to ourselves, if we develop a spiritual practice, if we develop more clear and open communication with God and with, some of these unseen realms, that's amazing. That's where so much of what, we're supposedly gaining in physical reality from all this stuff. So just remember that if you are going through a hard time, if a hard time that pushed you closer to God, that's so much more valuable than like ease or getting everything you want and you move away from God. Okay. And just developing that faith and trust. Okay, I just want to close by picking one affirmation for you guys for group 3. So that was a good reading. I feel like with this new moon, this new year, just kind of like releasing setting the intention to release some of the fears or doubts of like, oh, this can't happen for me, or it won't, or it never will, and just instead kind of leaning into that faith. Okay, we'll do this one. Resolving anger. Conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself. So I feel like maybe you've been feeling anger towards God, which is totally allowed, right? We're just humans. And it's healthier to kind of like express that anger in its simplest form. Anger reminds us like, this is my boundary and it's being crossed. So I think, anger, conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself. This can really just be about, what the conflict is showing you where the wound is, and it's showing you, again, you can use, if you've been really pissed off, sometimes maybe you can't connect to these things yet, but just think about, what have I been pissed off about? And that can give you an insight to rewriting some of these beliefs. So trusting your anger, trusting that if you feel angry, it's there to serve you, and you can use it in a way that, again, like gets you to your highest good and connecting with your higher power. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 4. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. As a reminder, new moon is about new energy, telling a new story, creating new things in your life. So I will be reading the cards in that way. But if you're watching this when it is not the new moon, just, there's a message in here for you if you felt called to watch. Okay, so we have card 19, Our Lady of the Inner Gate, breaks down to a 10, breaks down to a 1, so that might be a significant number for you. This is the card, group 4, you guys are here for some spiritual boot camp. You're here for some spiritual marathon running. Okay, this card to me is about, initiating yourself back to your heart. It's about trusting your inner guidance. It's about knowing that when we go through hard and challenging and difficult times, it's not, the ego wants us to believe that, well, the more spiritual I am, the better I get at life, right? That, things I don't want to have happen will stop happening to me. But, challenging, hard, difficult times in life don't stop just because we have more life experience or we have more spiritual tools or we've been on earth longer. That's not true at all. Those are actually there to guide us back to our heart. And there's challenging things in life that happen so that we can evolve them and move through them, and so that we can um just be guided back to ourselves, right? So many of the tests in our lives and the things that have happened help us get to that next layer and help us evolve. And so, a lot of us know tests in physical reality, in school or work or whatever, of like, okay, you pass or you fail. But on the spiritual level, and from God's perspective, we have tests and trials and things so that we can evolve on the soul level, so we can get to that next level, so that we can grow in spiritual progress. Because that's, again, contrary to popular belief, we are not here just to like have all our physical reality and feel comfortable all the time, right? That's not that's not the point of Earth School. Well, I wish it was sometimes, for sure, but if you're here, you know that that's not the point. So Our Lady of the Inner Gate is really just a reminder that God does not burden you more than you can bear. God does not hate you. God doesn't forget about you. This is just showing that like your initiation is for you to reconnect to that faith in yourself and come home to yourself and continue to allow that flow from your higher power and from God to guide you to get there. And just remembering again, like that inner gate, that inner peace, is what's happening. And also, this is a big also. Sometimes we think, okay, well, I followed my intuition, I prayed about it, this was the guidance I got, I still, ended up in a bad situation. And that doesn't mean you didn't follow your intuition, right? Following your intuition doesn't mean that you get to avoid any unpleasant thing you don't want to deal with. It just means that this is the exact thing that was brought to you for whatever reason. And again, I want to make it very clear, I've gone through a lot of things in my life that I'm not condoning, not like, well, that was great, I learned from it, right? But it is just about trusting on the soul level. You get through these things to grow on the soul and to trust yourself and to have faith in God. And it is just about knowing that these things are here for us in order to get through to the other side, not um not to punish you or make your life horrible or any of all that. It's to rely on God to have that spiritual growth, to evolve in the way that we couldn't evolve if that particular thing didn't unfold in that particular way. So I feel a lot of initiation here, sacred initiation, just maybe some resistance to doing things a certain way, but group 4, just hang in there. This is part of the process, it's part of life. So like usual, I'm going to do your tarot and then your oracle cards after that. Okay, so we open 3 of Wands in reverse, the Hermit, Hanged Man, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, Emperor, Hierophant, and 3 of Cups. Very nice. Ending to your reading. Okay, so I feel like for you guys in group 4, this initiation, this sacred initiation, the openness of your heart, the things you've been going through has kind of forced you to be at like a little bit of a standstill in your life. I see that very much with all 4 of these cards in a row. I'll talk about it in a second, but these 4 cards together, so 3 of Wands in reverse, the Hermit, Hanged Man, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, all of that is something. If you feel like your life has been, there hasn't been physical reality progress, or there hasn't been like, these things happening to affirm to you like, oh yeah, you're on the right path, you're doing it, or I worked really hard, where's the rewards in physical reality. This is really saying that you've been doing a lot of stuff on the soul level, you've been doing a lot of rewriting, a lot of changes there, which eventually will radiate outwards into physical reality. But sometimes we can get so frustrated because we're like, okay, I'm doing my work, but it'd be easier for me to do this if I had some support in physical reality right now. So I feel like with this 3 of Wands in reverse, maybe you were considering, oh, do I want to do this, or this? Do I want to move here, here, or here? Do I want to date this person, or this person? Or do I want to take this, or this job? It felt like there were so many options, so many choices. What's the next thing in my life I want to do? And all of a sudden it was just like, nope, can't do that, because, we're not in control when it's time for us to evolve spiritually. We're not in control when, we go through harder times in life, or especially, people with mental health situations we're not in control of when, we go through maybe some of these mental or physical hard times. And there are some things that do have to get put back on the back burner for not forever, but just for the time being while we work through some of those things. So if you feel like, you had all the options in the world was your oyster, you're ready to do everything, and now it's just like there's no more choices, it's not forever. But this, again, trusting the initiation, like of the sacred heart space, and trusting that like, you are moving into this inner gate into the higher levels. And so these choices are taking away from you temporarily, but the transformation you're going to have to be able to do it to get to the other side will be worth it. And then so from there we have the Hermit. So I feel like again you've had to go inward, you had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of probably screaming, crying, being upset, a lot of these things all going on at the same time. So this energy is about just going inward, taking time for yourself, knowing that like all the time that you're kept in isolation, that you're not encouraged to be outward, to feel all of those things, all of that is just a reflection of this time to go inward is intentional. And if you're not doing anything in physical reality, right, just give yourself permission, give yourself permission to put some emphasis and importance on the spiritual soul, on the soul growth, on the all the changes you've had to work through and invisible work you've had to do to like make yourself be different so you can show up differently in life. So if you've had to go inward, be internal for a long time, that's been going on. And we have the Hanged Man. I love this card. So this one is about letting go of like victim consciousness and letting go of like stop playing yourself basically. And as someone who has gone through a lot of abusive and messed up situations, I don't say letting go of victim consciousness like you should still process things that happen to you. But this card is really about, eventually that story doesn't serve us anymore. And eventually you're in a place where you can tell yourself something new. You can operate not in your pain body. You can become more emotionally intelligent and personally responsible to give yourself permission to, be more emotionally manageable, be more emotionally mature. And so I feel like that's a lot of the stories you're shedding with this inner time of just like doing that. And then 8 of Pentacles in reverse, theme of your reading, instead of trying to, this is about putting in the work, making things happen, physical reality, with those pentacles, instead of trying to be like forcing it or being like, I have to do this in physical reality, or it's time for me to work on this, or it's time for me to do that. This is saying like, just confirmation that the inner work you've been doing, the inner initiation you've been going through, that is your main priority right now. And again, I know we have to be alive, we have to pay bills, we need to eat. Okay. So you can't just like, unless you, have financial support in another way, but I get that you have to take care of yourself financially. So just take this at the way it can be resonant for you. But this is about, instead of trying to force something physical reality or make something happen, again like these choices of like, well, I was going to do this, this is just confirmation that the inner work is still the work, and going through these initiations and honoring the cycles and things you need to shed and move into is just as important, if not more important, than like making headway on some of these physical reality things. So if you kind of feel like you've been in like this rebirth, this spiritual things that are like very challenging, or like, okay, I get it, I learned my lesson, let me get out of here, this is just confirmation that you are on the right path. And so we have the Emperor and the Hierophant. I love seeing these two together. This is just about just allowing some of these like basics and some of these like tried and true things to really nourish you in this time. So the Emperor is this is the counterpart to the Empress in the tarot. So this is a lot about teaching. It's a lot about protecting. It's a lot about, maybe you haven't been, super kind to yourself, or maybe you've been trying to push yourself to do things that don't feel right because you need more time and space for yourself right now. So if that's the case, using that Emperor energy to remind yourself like, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm guided, I can go at the pace that works for me, I can do what I need to do for myself. And then the Hierophant, again, both of these are about like more traditional energy of just like, not that, you have to be traditional in like, values way. This is more about energy of, going back to the basics, what's the basic ways I take care of myself? What's the basic ways I learn? Like, how's my sleep schedule? How's my eating? Am I praying? Am I meditating? Am I doing these basics to take care of myself? And like these traditional things that have survived all through these lifetimes of humans, of just like, can I take care of myself? Can I protect myself? Can I spiritually shield myself? Just using some of these ways instead of trying to like push forward and make something happen, going back to really the basics, just feeling like if I was taking care of myself, like I was taking care of a child, what would I do for myself? How would I learn? What would I show up with? What are the very simple, easy ways that I can, be there for myself and take care of myself, and, just again, offer this deep wisdom to myself, and these ways I can show up for myself in like a really loving and compassionate way. Because to close your reading, we have the Three of Cups. So I feel like there's two messages with this I'm getting. The first is, even if you are going through a hard time, even if you are going through an initiation, even if it does feel like it's the end of the world, this card is a reminder that it is important for you to still have love, care, compassion, celebration in your life, right? So maybe if you don't feel totally up to it, still let yourself be loved by people who love you, even if you're going through a hard time, right? People who really love you and are there for you and want to offer you that love and care will do that no matter what you're going through in like internally. And so give yourself permission to, again, you might not feel your best, feel you're, amazing, but just letting people love you while you go through a hard time is, again, emotional intelligence, is spiritual advancement with that. And then, because this is the closing of your reading, if you feel like you're never going to get through this process, or you'll never have things to celebrate, or feel just like, I did it, I'm at peace again, this is like, again, another confirmation that you will get there. Going through this process, this initiation, walking through the fire and getting to the other side is always worth it, even when it's so hard in the moment. And so this is just, again, confirmation that, there will be joy and laughter and celebratory things in life again, even if right now it feels like, it's never going to happen ever. Okay. I'm going to look at your oracle cards. Yeah, so just going along with that, we have faith in your dreams, waxing crescent moon. So just what I was saying of just like, if you've had to kind of put some of your dreams or things you want to accomplish on the back burner while you go through this process right now, or you feel like, I never will celebrate or have joy in my life again, just know that, again, this inner initiation, this connection to the inner gate to get to the higher levels, like, is so that you will be a better match for the things you want in your life. It's not to punish you. It's not so you doubt that it's going to happen for you. It's not so that you lose faith in God. This is just reminding you, have faith in your dreams, and just because it's not your timeline or your the way you want, right, it's still happening. And I think, so look at this image, there's a butterfly and a flower on here. Both of those things, the butterfly, when it's a caterpillar, literally turns into goo and then comes out as a butterfly. So there's transformation. And then, with flowers, it's like the seed is planted. And there's a saying, right? Sometimes you think you've been buried, but you've been planted. And it's total darkness and, quiet, and you're under there. And then you have to crack through the shell and then turn into this beautiful flower. So having faith that your dreams are going to come true. They are coming true. And it can be connected to some of this like transformation and metamorphosis energy, more so than like, well, where is it? It should be happening right now, letting go and trusting the process. And even the moon on there, trusting these moon cycles of like, the moon is always in cycles, and so are we, right? We're not in this perpetual growth of, according to physical reality. There are times where we do have to cycle through things while we are on Earth. And then, so we do have golden opportunity with Yamanya. Important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. So I feel like, again, just letting go of this like victim consciousness. I don't have any power. I don't know what's going on. Just knowing that it might not be a physical reality door, but it can be like, this gate, the word gate we're seeing here, of just like, there's opportunities for you to grow on the spiritual level, and they are on purpose, and they are happening for you. And it's not for you to, again, it's not punishment. It's an opportunity. It's a way for you to get closer to yourself. If you are willing to dive deep and look at these things and just be like, okay, here it is. This is what I'm here. I'm going to go through this process, even if I don't know why or what I'm learning or any of that. Even if you don't know that right now, it's totally okay. But this is just about, knowing that this is an opportunity and it's not punishment, and it is important for you. The only way out is through. So you just got to take it one day at a time and keep moving forward. And it's about spiritual progress and not getting it perfect, and not, being like, why is this happening? It's so horrible. None of that, but just, knowing that it is opening for you, and the way is being made, right? And the path is made by walking, and you get through these things by continuing to move forward, even if you feel totally abandoned and like out of control right now. And then going along with that, we have the Magi. So the Magi, these are like seers of other realms. They are, the ability to kind of see the situation beyond physical reality. So I feel like with this theme, again, there's a lot of doubt and fear and uncertainty of like, why is this happening, right? If you're just looking at physical reality, this fear of like nothing's going the way I want it to, whatever. This is just like, with this new moon, you can say like, please show me a way that this could be working out for my highest good. Please show me a way. Maybe it's just getting pause in your life and getting rest if you've never had that before, or maybe it's unlearning your worth from what you're doing and instead turning inwardly and trusting that. So this is about again, just really giving yourself permission to see beyond the physical realm, beyond the ego, beyond the attachments of like this is good or bad because of physical reality circumstances, and instead giving yourself permission to see it from the other realms. Because then we have true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. So again, what I was talking about before of like, if you've been asked to turn inward in this time, if you've been asked to go really deep, know that that's not in vain, and know that, we have to deal with these things eventually. And like, if you're not, sometimes for a lot of us, if we don't deal with things right away, they show up and they make us deal with them, right? It's the saying, like, if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And that's not just physical illness. It's like, mental health, it's this process, it's whatever. So knowing that, this internal process, it's going to be happening, and you can either get there and do your best and show up and be like, okay, I'm ready to learn what I need to learn, or I'm not. And so this is just a reminder that, the effort you put in for this is not in vain. And again, will result in like you coming out to the other side for yourself. And then we have I create harmony. Really nice one to get for your last oracle card, of just like, again, you don't have to like this process. You don't have to, wish it was longer or anything, but it's just about, can you just find small moments of peace in your life every day, small moments of like acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean you condone it, doesn't mean you're like, give me more of this, please, right? That's not acceptance. This is just about creating harmony. It's just like, how can I, be emotionally mature and show up for myself and be grounded in faith, and be grounded that like, my higher power is always with me no matter what I'm going through with this, and just giving yourself permission and seeing if you can show up with harmony, integrity, and in grace in a lot of these things. Okay, and I just want to close with one more affirmation for you guys in group 4. Close your reading with this new moon. Okay, unhooking the past. There is nothing to regret when I learned from my past. So maybe just what we were just talking about with some of the wounding that's coming up, or some of the challenging things that are coming up, maybe is like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever was like that, or, maybe some shame around that. So remember, like, suffering ends when meaning begins, and you can't completely ignore your past, but you can learn from it. You know that the past is not here anymore, and you can, you were doing the best you could with what you had at the time. So just turning inward and see if you can give yourself, some love and compassion and care with that. And then just know, this is what I learned, and I'm ready to move forward and evolve in the way I'm being asked to right now. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a great start to your 2022.